everybody. Misha Collins!
Hi, Claire.
Hi, how
Nice to
are
meet
you? So nice to meet you. Welcome to
I'm sorry for just storming your stage like that.
What
It's
you know
very
what?
Unorthodox.
I'm used to it. Mark Shepard did the same thing,
did
right,
he?
guys? Yeah. First of all, Misha Collins, guys.
I feel like I'm in a 1950s living room.
I know, it's amazing, isn't it?
It is.
It is.
And it's very surreal.
First of all, welcome.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for joining us this weekend. How does it feel to be back with the Supernatural family?
Oh, it's awful. This is one of the things that I really haven't missed about the pandemic. Hi, everyone. I'm just kidding.
He's just kidding.
What is your role here?
My role is to actually just be a conduit for the family out here to get to speak with you.
Have you watched Supernatural?
Yes, I have.
Is that true?
What did you say?
Is it true?
Yes.
Really?
Is it true, guys? I've been here all day. Yes or no? I actually have we're talking about the Supernatural family, and it was really interesting to me in 2019 when the show was announced that season 15 was going to be the last season. Right away, you released this beautiful letter on Twitter. And I'm just wondering, what was, after the culmination of everything, of course the season hadn't shot yet, but what was the impetus behind you releasing that and making a statement,
It's something that my lawyer told me I should do.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's this has just been a very important chapter of my life and a long chapter of my life, and this community has been more important to me than I ever imagined a fandom or the watchers of a television show could ever be. And I don't know. I guess I just wanted to express that. It's a big deal when you break up with your fans by ending your show. And I wanted to, say I'm sorry.
It was such a beautifully written letter, and I was, looking over everything in preparation for this weekend, and it just struck me as something really special that you did for the community. So I just wanted to give my thanks for that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, you can clap if you want.
There's
But the interesting thing about your character is, you were only slated for 3 episodes at the beginning. And how sort of did you integrate yourself into the show and last as long as you did?
Blackmail was the main thing that I used. I had some information about Eric Kripke, and I used it to my advantage. I don't know. It was just, I think, kismet, really. I think that the character gelled with the other characters on the show. The writers felt like they could write more for the character. I remember early on when I first got on the show, that was the first time for me of just having any consciousness of a fandom at all. And there were, I don't even remember the names of the websites. Websites where people were writing reviews of the show. What was it? LiveJournal.
LiveJournal.
Someone said it. I was like LiveJournal, and people be like writing the reviews of Castiel's first appearance on the show, and I remember reading it and scanning through to figure out whether I had a shot at getting another episode on the show. And it felt very tenuous and weirdly kind of exciting. When I first signed up for the show, I was like, it's just another guest star spot. Mm-hmm. But it quickly became evident to me that there was something else here, something more. And then I became overcome with anxiety about my character's fate. For the first probably 2 years I was on the show, I was like, when are they going to kill me? I remember opening each script and being like, just scanning it and Castiel is brutally murdered.
This is a reoccurring theme with actors on genre shows. Is picking up a script and flipping to the end and seeing.
And then there was a certain point for me on Supernatural when it was like, even if they kill me, it doesn't fucking matter because I know I'll come back again.
Well, I know you guys probably want to ask Misha questions. You guys can line up at the mics. Just try to keep a little space between yourself and the person before they are not
and by keep a little
joking
space,
around.
she doesn't mean tackle one another in
Right.
order.
Please keep your masks on till you get to the mic, and do give each other a little space. We'll try to get through as many questions as we
When
can.
you say a little space, do you mean 6 millimeters? Because that's what they're giving each other in the line.
That's what's happening here. Are you ready to kick us off over here?
I am.
All right, let's
Hi.
go for it.
I carry my voice. Hi, Misha.
Hi, how are you?
Hello. Well, that's actually my question is, how are you doing today? How is Misha Collins doing today?
Oh, well, that's a lovely question. A deeply sad question to answer, but
Oh.
I'm okay. I'm okay. Thanks for asking. I have been going through I think like many people in the last year and a half, a challenging chapter in life, but weirdly doing okay. I have this sort of Buddhist mentor who said, you can look at these challenging chapters in life as things that you want to just grit your teeth through and skip to the end of, numb yourself through, or you can use them as opportunities for growth. And I'm trying to remind myself to do the latter. And I have some also good distractions right now. I just started working on a travel food show, which is actually not what it is. It's more just it's an opportunity to explore the country and meet people I wouldn't otherwise meet and get to know them and develop empathy and see what makes people tick. And that has been really gratifying so far. So that's a distraction, I guess.
That's good.
Yeah. How are you?
Oh, I'm okay. That question was for my friend Danielle. She's up in the hotel room. Her feet are too swollen to come back down.
Oh,
so,
no.
yeah. So, but
Well-
I noticed your pictures. Seems like a really stressful day today. And I was like thinking, how are you doing? And
Oh, well,
acknowledging that feeling because it's.
Well, I also was shooting late into the night last night and then was up at 5 a.m. to get here this morning.
See?
So I'm just tired.
Yes. Probably hangry.
I'm hangry. Yes. Pardon me?
She's saying to get some tacos.
No, she said I had tacos. Get tacos. They close at midnight. I should order online.
This is turning
Okay,
into
you're
a very
sort of
interesting
spoon feeding this to me.
taco.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And we hope your friend
Are you
feels
feeling
better.
unhappy? Go get tacos. Everything will be fine after that.
Yes.
Yes.
Take care of yourself, Misha.
Thank you.
Much love.
Yes. Tell your friend I hope her feet feel better for tomorrow. She can come. Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Misha. First of all, I just want to say that how much Cass's confession meant to so much of us in the queer community. And I just want to thank you for always being so supportive and for being such a light in this fandom and for bringing that light to Castiel because, I mean, you probably know this, you probably get this a lot, but Cass means so much to so many of us, so thank you. And my question is, when do you think Castiel first realized his feelings for Dean? Not when you specifically started acting it that way, but maybe like thinking back on it when he first realized what he felt.
It's a great question. Well, I can tell you that I first started talking to Robert Behrens, the writer of that episode, more than a year before we shot it about the substance and content of that last scene. So there was at least a year when it was very much at the forefront of my mind. But I think, interestingly, I think that latently it was there for a long time. And I don't think that there's a real concrete answer to your question, because I think that Cass, like myself, like the producers and writers of the show, like many of the fandom, were in denial. So I think there was a really long time when all of us thought, maybe, and maybe not. We don't know. And we were kind of like leaving it open to interpretation. But also, I have to say, I didn't believe that the show would have the guts to go there. So I was in my own mind making allowances for the possibility that we wouldn't quite go there, but there would be nuance, there would be innuendo that would tell the story in a... I'm trying to do a fucking panel here, dude. Goddamn Chippendale dancers. So, you know, I mean, it's an interesting question because it's also not, it's not something that one person can decide, right? It's like there are 140 people that work on a show, and there are 10 important creative voices in the show who really decide the direction collectively of where these like big decisions get made. And I never knew for sure where it was going to go. So I think it was there, but I think it was latent for a long time. And I think that that's also just fine. I mean, Cass was in denial, and so was everyone else. And I'm just happy that the show, no, I'm happy that my character's arc ended where it did, because that felt really meaningful to me, and it was something I, in subtle ways, fought for quite some time, and also just felt like, oh, this is gratifying and meaningful, and it kind of makes my time here worth something. Mm-hmm. So I was happy with it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. What a great question. Thank you. Hi.
You know, when, sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you interrupted me. When I remember, God, 11 years ago, I don't even know, my first convention, getting up on stage, and someone asked a question about Castiel, which was a very nascent phenomenon at that point, and I remember answering it and everyone being like, what is happening? Like the whole audience suddenly went into slow motion, like, stop it! Like I was crossing this line. And it's so interesting to observe now, a decade on, where everyone is like, yeah, so what's the deal? Like, how long have those guys wanted to fuck each other? Like, what? And I do think that that's an interesting evolution of both this little subculture, but also the culture at large, where it just suddenly, I don't know, seemed like it's okay, we can talk about these things. They literally used to have at conventions like a little list of things that people weren't allowed to talk about, and one of them was that question that you just asked me. By the way, can someone kick her out?
She's over here. Stand up real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. There
Identify yourself so security can escort you out, please. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Sorry for interrupting before.
That's okay.
there's been a lot of talk recently about potential future spin-offs, and I was just wondering if we were to get a Castiel spin-off, which please God, let us get a Castiel spin-off, what would you like Cass to be doing in it? What would you like it to be about?
I have ruminated on this question a little bit, and I think that Castiel as like a, I don't know, I've imagined Cass as a powerless former angel who's now a human, but instructing a new young generation of hunters who are possessed of some supernatural powers on how to pursue the craft of killing and eviscerating demons. Could be a nice storyline. Like I have this idea of like Cass as this kind of avuncular, older, aging, decrepit.
Thank
Yeah.
Thank you.
With ping pong, of course, right? Playing ping pong. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I would definitely watch that show.
Yeah?
I mean,
Okay,
I'm
good.
in. I'm in. Hi.
Hi, I wanted to know what your thought process and what brought you to do like your TikTok.
I was renting an Airbnb and I was outside and West was inside and he walked by the window and it was like this perfect silhouette shadow. And I was like, oh, I have an idea. That's it.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi, Misha.
Hi.
My question is, so I believe it was episode 17 that
Yeah.
Chuck said that, I guess you could say, you could say this world's Castiel was the only one that rebelled after dragging Dean out of hell. And I'm wondering if Castiel had a chance to talk to those other world Castiels, what would he say?
What is she talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't remember that.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the question? What?
Yeah, sorry. My question was, what do you think Castiel would say to those other Castiels to maybe not like change their minds, but to let them know that they have free will and they can do what they want?
I mean, it's interesting that free will ended up being such an important theme in the show. And I think it was just a seed that was planted somewhere in season, and but it really was important, right?
Yeah.
Like, are we making our own decisions? Are we charting our own course? And there's something incredibly empowering about the notion that we have free will. And it's, I don't know, I mean, we could get very philosophical here, but I think that there are some people that misinterpret the Bible to mean that everything is preordained. Everything is part of a plan that someone else made, and therefore we have no agency in our lives. And that couldn't be further from the truth. And I think Castiel would convey that to the other 16 Castiels, or 17, or however many of them there were. Like, this is it. This is our one chance. And it's not up to some other higher power to dictate from on high how we behave. It's up to us to do our best. That's the thing that Castiel, that's the main thing that resonates with me about the character, is that he always did his best. Even when he was making the wrong choices, he was always trying to do his best. And I think that that is what he would tell them to do. Try to do your best. Don't throw your hands up, and don't give yourself over to fate, because it is up to us. And I think that that's very true. And if I mean, you fall into an existential vortex if you don't believe that. And, like, you have to believe that you can affect change and that you can do your best in life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Sorry about the confusion.
Thank you. Great question. In the end, Misha, how much do you think you and Castiel were alike?
I don't know. I think that it's
Because hearing
it's
you
funny
talk
to,
about him,
it's funny to observe like my own emotional arc when the show ended and Castiel died. I actually felt like I was losing a friend,
yeah,
and I wasn't expecting that. But it was like that he became sort of a part of me, and I really cared about that character. But he didn't feel like he was me,
right.
and yet I do think that I do think that my personality informed the character, and ultimately, in some small ways, I think the character informed me. I think that, I mean, I've said this before at other conventions, but like it was very clear in the first few scripts that Castiel was this badass angel, and the writers very quickly adapted to me, the Misha, the actor, who was bringing what I brought to the table, and it was like, Castiel is no longer a badass angel. He's nerdy and socially awkward, and just trying to figure out how to ingratiate himself to humans, and that I think, I think I brought that to the table. It was really shocking and kind of sad for me when we brought other angels onto the show and they didn't act like weird wooden automatons. And I was like, wait, but I established already that that's how angels are. And they're like, no, you're just the creepy weird angel.
Not all angels.
The rest of us are perfectly normal.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
How hard was the goodbye at the end when Cass died?
It's like you're dancing with a microphone. What do you mean?
Like how hard was it for him to?
Letting go of the character and letting go.
Yeah.
How hard was it for me? How hard was it for Cass?
Like how hard was it for you to let like Cass go and have him say the goodbye? Bye.
I don't know. It was an interesting night because Richard Speight, who played the trickster, was also directing that episode. And generally speaking, on Supernatural, we don't talk about acting. Oh, I'm speaking in the present tense. We didn't speak about acting very much. We didn't like talk about the characters' feelings as actors. We didn't like sit around and ruminate on these things. And almost 2 weeks before we shot that scene, Richard came up to me and had a conversation about like how we were going to do that scene and the way we were going to work on it. And it was given this weight and gravitas from the beginning.
Yeah.
And I put a lot of thought, as I mentioned earlier, I had been thinking about that scene for almost a year at that point. It also, Richard and I decided to make that scene also my last scene. So usually we don't shoot things in order, but that was the last scene of that episode. It was also the last scene that Misha, shot on the show, and it was Castiel's last scene. So it was very poignant. It was a lot of actual goodbyes that were happening that night. It was the last scene on a Friday night. It was Friday night right before we went to Vegas for what would prove to be the last fan convention. Later that night, we got on a plane, and the plane's engine blew up, and Richard, Jensen, Alex, and myself all thought that we were going to die, literally. Like there were flames coming out of the engine of the airplane. It was like a really intense night. And I do remember just like sitting off in the corner which I don't think I ever did that for another scene in Supernatural. I just found like a dark corner of the stages where I just sat while they were setting up lights and just thought about what was coming. So it was hard, and it was like, it was focused though. It was like we really, like everybody put a lot into that last scene, you know. I don't know. I have nothing to say.
Seemed very emotional.
Yeah. Thank
It was
you.
emotional. That's correct. Yes. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You too.
Hi.
Hi. So throughout Supernatural, there have been a lot of characters that a lot of people have loved come and go. And I was just wondering, other than your own character, what is one character that you would have loved to see come back?
I think it would have been lovely to explore a little bit more of Jimmy Novak's family, and I did wish that Claire would have been back for more. She got too famous. We couldn't afford her anymore, but there you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi.
In Supernatural, what was the funniest scene that you were in?
What was a funny scene I was in?
Yes.
There were no funny scenes that I was in. I have no idea. I do remember it was season, God, I don't know. Season maybe 5, and there was a scene where Castiel sits on a whoopee cushion. I think it was the beginning of season 5, and I was now just I was finally a series regular, and I was stepping into my own. I was like, I'm actually a part of this show now. And we had the scene in this motel room, and Castiel sits on a whoopee cushion in this otherwise kind of important expositional scene. And I thought, this is stupid. Why are we doing this? Which precipitated me, Jared, and Jensen all getting on the phone with Eric Kripke while the rest of the crew waited for us to sort this out, being like, dude, this is just like, we really have to do the whoopee cushion thing? This just seems so stupid. And finally, Eric was like, you're doing the whoopee cushion? Go back to work. And that set the tone for the rest of the series for me. It was like, okay, I guess we're doing the whoopee cushion thing. And it turns out it was a little bit funny. I thought it was just stupid, but it was actually funny. So I stopped complaining. There's a story for you about a funny scene.
Yes. Thank you.
There you go.
Thanks.
So that's actually a good question. Did you, as your time on the show extended, get a chance to collaborate with the writers, or was everything pretty much set in stone, done, and...
We had open channels of communication, but I think that, a lot of the shows that people watch now are 10 episodes, 13 episodes. We were doing 23 episodes. It was a lot of work, and even though I was almost never on the show, but I think everyone stayed in their lanes for the most part. The actors trusted the writers trusted the actors, no one trusted the directors, and there were definitely times when we would say, we'd flag something and say, this doesn't feel right, this doesn't feel honest, Cass wouldn't do that. We also just changed things that were, if it was small enough, we'd change it on the fly. But like I mentioned, that last scene for Castiel was something that I was talking to the writer about for a year, in advance. So there were also certain times when it felt like something was it was like a weighty scene, important scene. We would weigh in on it more. And sometimes, Jared would get a bee in his bonnet about something, and then Jensen and I would talk him down about it. We can do this. I know it seems stupid, but we'll do it, and we'll get through it, and it'll be fine. Yeah.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
No.
No? Okay. Hi, Misha.
Hi.
Hi. I'm Trey.
Hi, Trey.
I want to talk to you about Gish.
Okay. This sounds like a complaint. It sounds like I have a bone to pick with you.
My husband does, but anyway, yeah, I've been gishing for about 8 years now, and yeah,
oh my
hubby
goodness.
has done it with me, and you apologized to him a few years ago for that, which
Yep.
was really nice.
Yep.
And at the time, I asked you if you had gished, and you said no.
I'm not gonna waste my time with that shit.
You said yeah. You basically you said you valued your personal relationships, and that's why you didn't want to do it. And since then, you actually have done a little bit. I know that you did one of the stay-at-home ones. You did some stuff with your kids. And how do you feel about it now?
If he would gish again,
Will you gish in the future?
are you gonna gish
You
again?
know, I have to say, the kids seem to love it. It was actually quite fun. I mean, I was surprised by just how fun it was. It also changed how I wrote items. I was like, that is a horrific mess that takes forever to clean up. I can't do that to people anymore. I'm sure that filter will stop being applied in the near future, but I had a moment of compassion
Why, thank you.
and empathy that evolved out of my experience there.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
What was the inspiration? I mean, I know that financially it goes towards your charity, but what was the inspiration behind Gish and the creative process getting it going? And congratulations, by the way, because it's awesome.
Oh, thanks. The inspiration was actually, I did a scavenger hunt in college for a couple of years, which was just super fun, and I really enjoyed it. And then I promised Warner Brothers that I would, no, that's not what happened. The publicist at Warner Brothers said, we're on the cusp of winning a People's Choice Award. There's just a few hours left. Will you tweet about it? And so I tweeted, if we win the People's Choice Award, oh, we were behind. And I tweeted, if we win, Warner Brothers promised me a rhinoceros, and I'll share it with you. And I didn't know what I was talking about. And then we did win, and I was like, oh, fuck. Because I felt like I had to make good on it. And so I said, thank you, we won, and as promised, I will share this rhinoceros with you. If you want to redeem your portion of the rhinoceros, send me a self-addressed stamped plastic-lined envelope to this address. And I still didn't know what I was going to do. And then I called the LA Zoo, and I said, would it be possible to get some rhinoceros scat? They said no. And then I was like, really, what am I going to do? And my assistant at the time was like, well, what about this? And she had gone online and had a puzzle of a rhinoceros with different, like, it was a puzzle with puzzle pieces. And I was like, that's perfect. And for whatever reason, I just, like, there were 3 puzzles, because that was, like, there were 300, it was a 100-piece puzzle, and there were 300 people that sent in their envelopes. And I just put Team 1, Team 2, Team 3 on the backs of the puzzles. And people had to figure out what team they were on. And I don't know why it turned into a scavenger hunt, but it did, and it was super fun for me. I didn't care about the people participating. I was like, that's fun for me. I'm going to do that again. So it was actually not about charity or doing good. It was just about me having fun, and I guess a little bit enjoying watching people embarrass themselves. That was the genesis.
I like it.
Yeah.
Hi.
Oh, hi. Everybody's asking like these really deep questions, but I honestly just want to know what your favorite dance move is.
Favorite dance move?
Favorite dance move?
Yeah. With an example, please.
Oh, you guys are so bad.
It's what Jeff did up there in the glass. It's a pelvic thrust with the legs spread. Thank you for asking. No, Jeff showed you. I can't replicate Jeff's work.
You couldn't possibly, yeah. No, thank you. Great
Thank
question.
you. Thank you for asking.
day.
And
Hi.
Yes.
Hi, Misha.
Hi.
Oh, God, is that how I sound?
Yes, it is.
Sorry. So first, my boyfriend wants to say thank you for his birthday text. I didn't get one, but that's cool. It's cool. You kind of answered my question I was going to ask already. I know we all got the text about your interest in Pittsburgh, where you were going to go, what you were going to eat. It's tacos, so there goes that question. So I'm going to ask a generic question. What was the craziest, zaniest thing a fan has ever done, besides this right now?
Well, what do you mean by craziest, zaniest?
Like weird gift or weird showing up somewhere, something like that.
Well, there have been a lot of instances.
Pick one.
Some of them scary. There have been people who have like climbed over fences and barricades. I was in Russia. This was intense. I was in Russia for the first Moscow Comic-Con, and there were like 150,000 people that showed up, and I was the only actor at the Comic-Con. I think they were like, who's actor who's Russian? This guy, Misha. Misha, that's a Russian name. Okay, let's get him. And so it was like I had this motorcade with all former KGB guys, bulletproof glass, like full on. I was like, this is ridiculous, guys. And then we got to the event, and I was like, oh no, I need more security. This is crazy. And I got up on stage, and they had those like those barriers, and like at concerts, right? And people just knocked them down, and then started like trampling over each other to get to the stage. It was actually scary. Like I was like, people are going to get trampled to death. So I got off the stage, and it was this weird feeling of like, I am so unbelievably famous. And it might be killing people. And it might be worth it.
Totally.
Okay, which was scarier, the burning jet engine or
the people getting trampled? Actually, it was all scary. It was all scary.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi. First of all, I am not taking any chances with the birthday text thing. My birthday is on Monday, so if you
Okay.
And
I don't
also,
have your number handy, so you are taking some chances.
It is on the thing, but also. There's been like a long running gag about people calling Castiel the gay angel. When did you start playing into that and making it a conscious decision to play him as a gay man?
Cass isn't gay. What are you talking about? Can you imagine the uproar? Misha just said that little clip will be taken out of context. Misha's no longer an ally.
When was the moment, Misha? When was the moment?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like I kind of answered this question before. Were you not here? Were you in line and you're like, I already have this question, I'm going to ask it again?
Well, I was wondering because there's a difference between knowing that Cass has feelings for Dean and acknowledging that he is a member of the LGBTQ community, like, at all. Exactly, they said that.
Well, it's possible his feelings for Dean led him to realize he was a member.
I mean, I think that I don't know. I don't know that I have a good answer for that. I do know that there was a time in the show when I started to play it like I started to play it more head on, and I think that was in the last year because that was when I sort of became conscious that that's where the story was going. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
I mean, I have to also say that there was like this almost like there was this ineffable quality to Cass, which is a little bit hard to put your finger on. Like Cass, at one point said he was utterly indifferent to sexual orientation, right? Like he didn't care. But I think that he was also in my mind, Cass wasn't like he was never a labeler. He was just I don't know, he was just experiencing his situation, and that was changing. It was fluid in some respects, but he wasn't like, he wasn't necessarily defining himself in my own mind for a long time. And I think that it became, but I also do think in a sense that Cass, I don't know, I guess maybe even metaphorically, his acceptance of that was like an acceptance of an identity, which really only happened at the very end. You know, it was like something that he kept bottled up and didn't acknowledge. And I think that that's something that is true. I don't know, I'm making assumptions here, but I think it's true for a lot of members of the LGBTQ community. Like, not I don't know, I'm not being articulate at all. Yeah, I don't know. I think his acceptance was really profound, and I think that the fact that he kept that bottled up for a long time was partly because he was finding himself in a culture where he didn't think that was acceptable. You know? And he finally allowed himself to accept that in himself, and also found acceptance in this like very heteronormative character of Dean. I think Dean not rejecting that from Cass was also huge and also profound, and also important. I don't know. I think a lot of people have like taken issue with the fact that there wasn't more attention given to that statement after the fact. Like, Dean never reciprocated, and the other characters, you know, moved on in the last episodes there. But I think the fact that I think Dean like showed love in his eyes, and I think the fact that he didn't say "fuck off," given the character of that show, was actually really profound. At least it was to me. I don't know. I think a lot of people didn't take satisfaction in it, but I was like, I was so grateful that we were able to go as far as we did, and I was grateful that Cass was able to express himself like that. And I don't know that he came to that conscious identity until really the very end. Yeah, and I'm sorry that I stumble on my words so much. I'm trying to parse them carefully because I don't want to say the wrong thing.
Thank you so much. We have time for 2 more questions, so go over here. Hi.
Hi.
Is it Mike? Okay. So first, I want to say thank you for coming to Pittsburgh.
I love Pittsburgh. It's so pretty here.
I do too.
Every time I drive in, I'm like, oh, this is such a pretty city. So thank you for having me here.
Okay, and my question is on the lighter side. What is your go-to karaoke song?
Okay. Go-to karaoke.
I don't have one. I was traumatized early on.
Oh.
I was on a tour of potential colleges in my senior year of high school with my wife, future wife, and we went to Carnegie Mellon and were at a karaoke bar.
Okay.
And she said, let's sing Oklahoma. And we did. I had never heard the song. and she's tone deaf. And it was mortifying. It was truly mortifying. And I never earnestly tried to sing a karaoke song again after that.
I hear you.
If you could have one, what would it be?
Well, let's ask what's yours.
None.
Oh.
No karaoke song. Well, what about you? What do you do? What do you sing?
Probably Taylor Swift.
Oh.
All right.
Okay.
Very
you want to do
good.
a little for us now? Acapella? Karaoke? That's not a thing.
No.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
No,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not embarrassing myself.
Good call. You passed the test. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And our last question, hi.
Hi, Misha. I wanted to first say thanks for Leviathan cast, because I heard you were sick as you were filming that, and I literally like screamed at the TV when you were doing that, and like just the acting there was so phenomenal. My dog did not appreciate you, so thank you.
Oh, great.
And I wanted to ask, you're so good at so many different things. Apparently, besides karaoke, what's another thing that like you're not good at or you want to do but you haven't done yet?
This is such a great last question. So tell us something that you suck at. I suck at laundry.
Okay.
And it's just because I hate it. I don't know why.
Me too.
A lot of people find it therapeutic.
No.
And I just don't want to have anything to do with it. So that's one thing for me.
Okay.
There's so many things that I want to learn how to do, but I don't have the patience. I would love to be a good editor of like film, but that seems like a lot of work to learn how to do. I am, I'm not a great baker because that's a little bit too, like, it's too scientific, you know? I like to just throw things in and have it work out, and that doesn't work with baking. And I'm not great with musical instruments, and I would love to be good, but I'm also not willing to practice enough. So that puts me in a little bit of a bind there. Yeah.
That was a great last question.
Thank you.
And you got several answers. Misha, thank you so much for joining everyone.
Thank you all for coming out. I know that this is like I know this is a strange time to be congregating, and I know that probably a lot of you have faced fears to be here. But it's so nice to see you all again, and it's so nice to be back together again. And I hope we have more of this in the not distant future. I appreciate you all for being here. Thank you.
Thank you. One more big round of applause for Misha Collins.